Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, and welcome to the Amateur Otaku podcast. I'm your host today, Present Mike, filling in for the Scarlet Fan, Full Metal Brandon. He's not going to be here today, but joining me as always is co-host of the podcast, Isaac Wolf. Where there's a whip, there's a way.
Raskin and Bat. For anyone that wants to know the reference, check out Raskin and Bashk, Lord of the Rings: Return of the King animated adaptation. It is so bad, it's hilarious.
Yeah, we're just gonna roll with that, guys. And joining us for this special episode of My Hero Academia is our good friend from Geekly Goods, Leo Rydel. Leo, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Glad to be talking some MHA. Isaac, what the heck? I thought your username was a reference to the episode. What are we doing out here reaching out for all these under the boat references? I'm like, what?
I'm disappointed that this is the one time he's not Ultra Instinct. Like, dude, come on.
I
just needed to have it just to hear some reaction from Mike. I send you that song later, Leo.
Nah, when there's a whip, there's a way.
Yeah,
let's do it. I'm excited, guys. I can't wait.
So, Leo, we've been reviewing every episode of the season. So I just want to get your thoughts. I know you said you recently caught up. How's it been, like, binge watching through the first 10 episodes?
Oh my God. So I read the manga. I was caught up already before the season came out. So I kind of took a backseat a little bit and let the season stack up a bit so I could go back and actually binge watch the episodes later. So I think I started at the 4th episode in the season and I've been watching all of it throughout the weekend. And wow, what a treat it has been. I think my favorite episode so far has been the Bakugo episode, actually. Getting to see his growth as a character, and just the differences between the anime and manga are there's like none. But what I love is just getting to see the animation brought to life, and just how cool it is to witness Bakugo actually using some teamwork, like actually being a team leader and actually relying on his team to back him up. It was such a great plan for him, because he's just such a overpowered character, a character that who has so much mobility and so much ability and strength, that it really, like, his team was the best team out of the 1A groups, just because he was leading them and had a pack of support that really could support his quirk and his thinking. So it was like such a cool episode to see, like, Bakugo stepping up and actually maturing a little bit, and even acknowledging Deku. And even though it's in his own rational way, or his way that he thinks is rational, it still was like such a cool moment for him to acknowledge Deku, and for him to study Deku, and even to acknowledge, like, One for All, and talk to him in All Might and make sure things were okay with One for All. It's the growth between those two is just so, like, fascinating to watch throughout the series. But what I do find a little bit weird up to this point is the lack of, what's the word I'm looking for? The lack of people acknowledging Deku in the last season. Because I'm like, okay, he went straight up One for All 100%. How is nobody acknowledging that? Like, none of the students seem to really be picking up on the fact that he took down, like, Overhaul, somebody who could have easily used Ares' power to overhaul, quote unquote, a lot of the pro heroes. And I just thought, kind of a missed opportunity for Deku to get a little bit of acknowledgement, because it was such a crazy feat. I'm like, don't you guys remember this kid, like, 3 weeks ago, literally just saved most of the city? Like, I don't know. I think that was a little bit of a missed opportunity for Bakugo to even just, like, say, like, oh, well, you may have saved everybody, but I'm still ahead of you, or something like that. I don't know. I think that kind of got grazed over a little bit too much. But this recent episode, man, I like seeing Black Whip. I just didn't expect the green outline. Like I was saying before we started, I was like, isn't it called Black Whip, not Black and Green Whip? Like, it's kind of themed to Deku a little bit. But right. I mean, hey, like, it's not a big deal. I just thought it was like a funny little extra detail. But I'm liking seeing all the quirks as usual. What I love so much about My Hero Academia is it's not just about Deku and Bakugo, but it is about all of the students and all of their quirks and how well they're utilized in a team-like setting. And it's so cool to see the combos they pull off and the strategies they use and to see the different strengths and weaknesses of every single character. It's presented so well. And this is something that anime doesn't do a lot. You know, I feel like anime like Naruto and other similar shonen anime have had the opportunity to do so, but they really hone in onto characters. And it's really, Naruto's really about Naruto and Sasuke with the sprinkle of Sakura and Kakashi. Let's be real. But My Hero Academia does such a great job of actually showing us the abilities of everybody else. You know, in other anime, when there's a tournament, you get an episode or two with other characters, but you get like 5 episodes of the main character doing his thing. That's not the case in My Hero Academia, where everybody gets their own moment, and I just love it. And even when teams do win, I love that Aizawa does say, like, oh, here's what you can work on. Like, even though you guys did end up winning, there are still things that can be improved. So I love these aspects and getting to see the strengths and weaknesses of every single character and getting to see them continue to develop throughout the series. It's so cool. And one more thing before I finish. What I really liked about the Class 1A, Class 1B dynamic is it really does show the weakness of Class 1A, and that's that they've been through so many tragedies that they haven't really gotten a focus enough on actually coordinating and working on their quirks together as much as Class 1B, because they've been able to work together, but it's always in a tragedy. It's never just really in a training, at least what we've seen. I mean, I'm sure they do it off screen, but we don't see a lot of them training. It's kind of just like tragedy after tragedy. So it kind of is this, they kind of have to get into emergency mode at all times instead of being able to just kind of settle down and use their quirks in a setting that's not an emergency. Like, they haven't been able to actually work on their quirks. It's just always like, okay, we have to be at 100 at all times so we can, just because another villain's coming or something happened or somebody just got kidnapped, Bakugo just got kidnapped. Like, there's always these tragedies plaguing Class 1A. So it's given 1B a bit of an advantage to be able to actually work on strategical thinking together.
Yeah, and I think that's why Bakugo's match was so good, because we got to see, he was always strong, but he was able to have, he was able to strategize and coordinate with that team that he had. And I think that just speaks volumes to his personal growth. He knew he had to grow in that aspect, as opposed to powering up like, say, Midoriya has to over the course of the season. And going back to what you said about the overhaul arc, I recently rewatched that. Nobody knows. They can't say anything about that fight. So nobody in Class A even knows what happened that day, except for like Uraraka, Kirishima, and Asui. So,
and that's what I'm saying. I'm like, nobody, like Kirishima wouldn't be like, Bakugo, bro, like yo dude Deku just took down like a whole new villain, my man.
The thing is, they can't mention it, which I hate. But they're like, it's confidential. They can't say anything, which sucks.
Hate it.
But yeah, this episode in particular is episode 98. Isaac, can you pull up the episode title for us? It is That Which Is Inherited. This is adapting a whopping 4 chapters of the manga. For context, guys, it usually only adapts 2 chapters of the manga. So this adapted the end of 209, 210, 211, 212, and 213. And we learn a shocking bit of news here that there's more power to One for All than we initially realized. It's not just stockpiling the power, it's actually keeping the quirks of the other users. So I know you guys have read the manga, so I guess I'll just ask your initial reactions from that as well. But what are your thoughts of Midoriya having more than 1 quirk? He's going to have 6 in total, which is just unbelievable.
I'll let Isaac go.
Isaac, go.
Okay, well, it's funny that you mentioned this one, because I don't know if you guys know who Neverworld is. He pointed out something the other day when I listened to an video of his, and apparently this is a moment which where a lot of My Hero fans actually turned off from this series and just dropped the manga. And the fascinating thing is that the anime onlys seems to love this part. And truth be told, while I might not be so ecstatic, I think people should have seen this coming, considering his Avatar: The Last Airbender dream and all that jazz. With him being able to talk with the previous users, so to speak, that it will be more than just one power, so to speak, and it makes sense if that, so to speak, especially if he wants to have the end game with him versus All for One at the end of things.
Yeah, I get what you mean there. It makes sense, but this fundamentally changes the rest of the series in a big way. And when I initially read this, I did not like it. I don't like the choice. I got over it, and I actually grew to really love the idea. But we're in that part of the anime where it's unknown how powerful the quirks are, what they all do. That's something that the anime hasn't gotten to yet. It was just revealed he has more than just One for All. And don't forget, One for All also beefs up, enhances the quirks itself. So like Black Whip isn't that strong, but you saw how crazy and berserk it was going because it's enhanced like 6 times more than it normally would have been. And so it causes concern of, will he be able, like we were talking about the Bakugo episode, Bakugo's whole thing is, I've gotten stronger, Deku, you have to keep up. Well, now Deku just unlocked 6 new powers, and it's like, will anybody in Class A keep up with him? The only person who would be in his league is All for One, right? And so I get the concern. I do find it interesting, like you said, how manga readers hated it and anime onlys seem to love it. And I think that comes to the medium of the animation. Seeing it go berserk like it did, as opposed to reading it, it's just a different experience. And Leo, what were your thoughts on Black Whip in general?
I had some mixed feelings when first reading it as well, because I thought My Hero Academia was going to avoid the Chosen One narrative, and they presented it in this way that, oh, Deku's like the perfect inheritor, like this is the time for One for All to like finally wake up. And I kind of didn't like that. Like I kind of was like, oh well, I thought One for All was this vehicle for anybody who deserved it to become a hero, a true hero. And that's kind of how it was presented at the beginning of the series, at least in my opinion, when All Might passed it on to Deku. All Might didn't have powers. It was passed on to him. I kind of thought, okay, this is like this new generation of One for All users, because of course All Might's master did have a quirk already, but I was like, oh, there's this new generation of people who don't have powers, but still have the heart and the true feel of a hero that are given the powers to become a hero. So I liked that Deku was becoming so resourceful with it. He was using all these different attacks than All Might, like the shoot style from studying Ida, and then the air bullets. Like I liked that Deku was so resourceful with One for All, and I kind of almost was like, I almost wish instead of these 6 or 7 or 8 quirks that would come with One for All, I almost wish it just would have been like 6 different versions or variations that Deku would have came up with himself, because I feel like they presented us a character who wasn't a hero, but knew everything about heroism, knew everybody's quirk, knew everybody's strategies. I mean, he's like on the sidelines as the tournament's going on, writing all these notes. And I'm like, okay, this is a kid who's very analytical and very strategical. I kind of liked going in with that being his ability, as if you will. Like that's kind of his quote unquote quirk, is that he can analyze a situation and a character so well that he can then take it back to his own quirk and come up with these different variations and styles that none of the other users would have ever even thought of how to use it. So I kind of liked like when they were going the shoot style around the air bullets, but then when they started introducing the other quirks, I had some mixed feelings at first. Of course, the animation is super cool. That's a cool fact that manga readers didn't really like it, but anime onlys really did, because I think it is one of those circumstances in anime where when it happens and you see it, like it's kind of cool, you know, in the sense that when we first saw Naruto, you actually used the Nine-Tailed Fox chakra when that first came out, and when we seen like Ichigo use Bankai, or when he first used his Bankai and things like that, like these big feats in anime, it kind of reminds you of something like that when you actually see it animated. So yeah, I liked it animated, and I like you, Mike, I've kind of grown to think it's okay. Like I'm kind of like, okay, I'm getting used to the fact, especially having been with the manga so long now, I'm getting used to that fact. But at first, I was not really feeling it. And I kind of think it gives Deku this chosen one narrative that he didn't really have at the beginning. But, you know, like, look, the more the merrier, I guess. It's just kind of like Deku, when that happened, it was like, oh my God, this kid takes one step forward and then two steps back, unfortunately, because of a new power manifesting. But I do like that it's going to get into his resourcefulness, because as we know from reading the manga, can I talk about it, or are we not jumping ahead yet?
We can. What do you say, Mike?
Put a pin in that when we start the manga conversation.
Okay.
You can just mention it there.
Okay, I'll wait.
Yeah. But I agree with what you're saying. I think from a power scaling standpoint, it was kind of scary at first, but like you said, chosen one narrative. Not a fan. That's one of the things I didn't like about the ending of Naruto. Whereas the series starts out with Naruto, right? He's just trying to be the best ninja he can be. And then we find out, he's kind of a chosen one. Same thing kind of happens here. And I don't like that direction. I still honestly don't like that direction, but I think it's handled well. And I think that's the main thing. And getting a little bit more into this episode, we also had a little bit of Uraraka, a little flashback with her, how she wants to be a hero who saves heroes, right? Who watches the Watchmen, essentially. What are you guys' thoughts on how they're handling that and her relationship with Midoriya and how that's like evolving as the series goes on?
Like you said like we said on Twitter before recording, the anime is given even more unsubtle than the manga.
Yeah, did you go back and read those chapters?
Yeah.
We don't see her slap him in the face. We don't see them float back to the ground. And so I feel like Studio Bones is big time Deku Uraraka shippers. They're really setting up that relationship, which is cute, but I'm really interested to see how they take her character. Which what was the side for, Leo? What are your thoughts on Uraraka?
I don't like that. And the reason why I don't like it is because I want Uraraka to not be a Sakura Hinata type. Like, dude, I'm cool with the like little subtle hints of romance, the kind of like watching him from afar. I'm cool with that stuff. But when it starts to get into the like, oh, I love you, Deku, without it actually even saying I love you, I don't know, man. Like I kind of hate that she's being reduced to this, oh, I'm just here to support Deku type of character. Like I like her quirk. I like flow. I think there are a lot of things, strategic things that could be done with that quirk. I'm trying to see her kick some ass, bruh. I'm not trying to see her like coming in to save Deku all the time. But I did understand like that whole theme and narrative of like who actually has the back of the heroes. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm down for that. But like when it gets all this like lovey-dovey stuff, I'm like, okay, we can do that at the end. Y'all can pull an avatar just like you did in this episode in the end. Y'all can pull an avatar, go ahead and kiss at the end. We don't need the in-between stuff. Still be that Katara-like character. I need her to really like come in as a support on the offensive. Like help our boy take these guys down too. Like I don't want it to just become all about her character, become all about loving Deku. I don't want her character and her spirit and her energy to only be directed toward that.
I think that's what the purpose was, though, for those flashbacks that we got with her. You know, helping the old lady, saying she wants to be a hero who supports other heroes, which I think is a good use of her power, because zero gravity is a good quirk, probably not the best in combat, as we saw in the sports festival when she fought Bakugo. Oh. So I appreciate the angle they're taking it with. Yeah, they probably don't have to be as obvious with the romance part between the two of them, but I like the idea and the direction they want to take her. She's going to be a really good support hero, I think, and I'm glad they're kind of leaning into that aspect. I am interested, though, to see what happens in part 2 of this fight, because for some reason, Mr. Eraserhead decided they should continue this battle, even though Deku almost killed everyone.
Yeah, which, I mean, I'm like, okay, y'all wouldn't at least like time out. Let's at least make sure Midoriya is okay. Like
give him 5 minutes or something, you know?
Right. I'm like, this dude literally just screamed at his teammates and the opposite team to run. And they're just gonna be like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. Like, let the kid keep fighting. I don't know. Sometimes Aizawa, man, he be going ham on these kids. Like, just let them damn near kill each other. It's okay.
Right.
He's the classic example of a parent that believes in tough love.
Absolutely.
If that makes any sense.
Just like Kakashi.
Right. So we met Banjo, who they didn't say which user of One for All he is. I'm not going to say it because that'd be an anime spoiler. What were you guys' thoughts on that interaction? And like Isaac, you mentioned earlier that this is sort of an Avatar state situation where past lives and past users are kind of coming to help Midoriya. What are your thoughts on them helping him with these other powers?
I mean, how should I put it? Considering he is going to need support to understand them all, and I think it makes sense that they have him being able to talk to communicate with them, so to speak.
Yeah,
and just get some. I don't believe they should handhold them because that's erased attention, but they can give him guidelines, so to speak. I don't see any problems with that.
Yeah, like Avatar Roku did for Aang. Exactly. Leo, any thoughts on Banjo or the whole, again, dream vestige world thing that we got going on? That's a lot to throw in one episode. New quirk, and these guys are here to help him with it.
Only the Avatar mastered all 4 elements. Only he could stop the ruthless firebenders, but when the world needed him most, he vanished. I mean, seriously, this was a heavy Avatar episode. Like, even the angle of like Deku looking at the past vestiges, I was like, that's Aang looking at the past Avatar users.
It's almost the same shot.
It's literally the exact same shot flipped, and I was like, whoa, they went full Atla in this episode. But I mean, you know, I agree with you, Mike. It's just pretty much like Roku talking to Aang. I think it was a cool moment because he didn't necessarily like straight up walk Deku through all of it. He did say like, it's up to you, man. Like, you got to control, use your heart. He didn't actually walk him through it. So that to me gives Midoriya the opportunity to actually work with this quirk and make it his own. So I like that there was this small interaction that he told him, he referenced how he can use the power, but not actually showed him. So I thought that was a nice way to just kind of give a little button to Midoriya to learn even another resource in the toolkit and how he could use it in his own personal way. So I like that a lot.
Yeah, I'm definitely with both of you guys there. I'm cool with it. It's actually really interesting incorporating that because we only knew of All Might, and then we learned of Nana Shimura, though we don't know much about her aside from her relationship with Shigaraki. So it's adding lore, which I appreciate. I think that was kind of the whole point of introducing the new quirks and the vestiges. There was never much lore to My Hero. It was more of a baby gave everybody powers. All for One has been evil the entire time. The end. So adding that mystery and having that kind of unfold for both Deku and All Might, I think is actually a really good turn.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really excited to see how that develops throughout the rest of the season and even the entire series as a whole, because it's fun stuff.
Yeah, it'll be nice to kind of see more of the vestiges unfold.
For sure. Guys, did you have anything else on this episode 98? We're almost to the big 100.
I mean, I think it's a good episode that kind of I like that the strategy kind of fell apart, because it's like, okay, you can't just come into the tournament, use the same strategy as the last team, like and come in and win. So I think that it made sense that strategy kind of fell apart a little bit, but I'm looking forward to what's coming up, y'all.
Yeah,
Isaac.
The last thing I really can add before we go to the manga chapter is, where there's a whip, there's a way.
You're not wrong. And
Yeah,
the question is there a way for them to kind of recover? Because I'm sure Deku and his team are going to be a little out of sorts, but he's got a notebook full of ideas, so maybe he could pull a trick out of his bag. We'll see.
Or literally throw a bag up like what's her name, Yorozu did. Maybe he'll actually have a physical bag of tricks.
Right? That was actually perfect.
Yeah, that was tight. I was like, okay, got a bag of tricks on you. Go ahead.
Shame they lost that one, but you know.
So close.
Yeah. Anyway, shall we go to the manga section?
Yes, sir. We're going to talk manga spoilers now, guys. So, anime onlys, thank you guys so much for listening to this review. We're going to be back next week with episode 99, probably the conclusion of Deku's match against Class B and Shinso. So, again, thanks for listening. We'll see you guys later. We are talking about My Hero Academia chapter 314, I believe. And before we get into that, Leo, what did you have to say on the last episode that was a manga spoiler?
I just wanted to say that it's cool that Deku studies Froppy and uses like the tongue for like his Black Whip basis. I thought that was really cool. And it's cool that like every quirk he has, he just like uses a classmate's quirk to actually have like a basis for it.
That's why I think in the end it's going to pay off, because we had the fear of, well, Deku, his resourcefulness is kind of going to disappear just because he's going to be ultra instinct, right? Well, not exactly. The notebook still comes into play. All those notes he took on Sero and Sue and Uraraka are going to pay off in the long run.
That's how he's using float. Like,
yep. That, oh god, if we thought that they added some more shipping elements to this episode, wait till he learns how to use float. Okay, guys, we are reviewing chapter 314, The Lovely Lady Nagant. Leo, what are your thoughts on what's going on with Lady Nagant? You haven't been here for the manga reviews. What are your thoughts with the whole Deku leaving UA thing? We haven't really talked since your episode.
I kind of like it, because in a sense, like, I'm like, all right, it would be good for him to have his team, but dude, the people he's working with, Best Genius, Hawks, Endeavor, and All Might, I'm like, what a squad, dude. Like,
it's top 4 heroes, right?
Yeah, and I'm like, this dude is working on the front lines with the top 4. Like, they're like a band together. Like, I dig it. I dig the change in vibe a little bit, kind of giving Deku a little more solo on the manga. I like it. Like, I'm kind of liking this theme of separating him from the rest. But at the same time, I miss my UA, y'all. Like, I'm like, all right, we got to get back to the UA kids. But I am liking this kind of solo adventure with Deku. I'm liking to see some of the development he's gained, even though it's only been like a month. Like, I kind of, part of me wishes that there was like a year between, because I think that this is the perfect moment to say, okay, Deku's been working solo for a year now. It's been a year. He's developed the quirk alone. I think that was a little bit of a missed opportunity to pull a small time skip. You don't got to go 5 years later. You don't got to go 10 years later. Oh, everybody's graduated from UA and Deku wasn't there. We don't got to do all that. But I think if you had like a small time skip, a year, 8-9 months, to just at least show people that he's developed, I think that would have been a little bit cool. But it almost, to me, like seeing him fight up against this, what was her name?
Lady Nagant.
Lady Nagant. Seeing him use these abilities, it almost to me feels like, dang, was he holding back a little bit? Because like he already he took down Muscular,
right?
And he's, oh my god, this chapter, Chisaki, like. But I think that the whole vibe of him going solo was cool. I wish that there was a year time skip in there just to develop the quirk a little bit more. And then there's like, isn't he using a special glove and a special suit? I don't know. I just think that it's a little bit of a handicap.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I think that's the problem with this series as a whole. Whereas, like, think about it. We're on episode 98. And he's still a first year in the anime.
Right.
And we're on chapter 314. And he's just now a second. Well, he's actually a dropout. But if he didn't drop out, he'd be a second year. And it's like, guys, have we been following them every single day? Has any time passed at all?
At all. Like, and it's like, okay, if we could get at least, even if you want to just go as small of a margin of 6 months.
Right.
Fine. That works. But I don't know it's been like a couple weeks.
Yeah,
like,
which is wild to me.
Yeah, and he's like kicking butt. He's able to take down Muscular pretty easily. So to me, it's like, okay, whatever is enhancing him, allowing him to use a higher percentage of One for All, why didn't they just give it to him earlier at that point? Like, because I don't know. I just think that there's a bit of a crutch here, and I kind of wish that wasn't the case, but I do like the action and the actual battle scenes that are happening in this arc so far, if you will.
Yeah. So this chapter is picking up where we left off last time. He's still fighting Lady Nagant. But this time he's asking what went wrong. She used to be a hero. She's actually a hero turned assassin, which is a new concept not introduced in My Hero Academia before these last couple chapters, which is a nice little twist. We also get her backstory, her origin story, honestly, and I think it's pretty interesting. Isaac, what are your thoughts on the lovely Lady Nagant?
Well, remember when you did that manga mock-up thumbnail?
Isaac, you're referencing things that audio listeners have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah, so what? But anyway, I was the thing I mean is, no, never mind. I shouldn't reference Al Pacino here, but anyway.
Okay.
You should know exactly what quote I was going for there.
I really don't. And I don't know if we should just move on or let you finish this crazy story.
Leo, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, what? Something about Al Pacino? We talking about The Godfather here?
No. Okay, we can take it off there.
Shave that trimming off.
Yeah. Devil's Lawyer. The fact that you haven't seen that one is a bit disappointing.
Isaac, can you please do us a favor and say something that makes sense?
Yeah, but the thing I was about to say now that makes sense is that I actually like her backstory, so to speak, which makes sense for a character such as Lady Nagant.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me, quite frankly, want a spin-off with her, if that makes sense, because that's a part of My Hero that we haven't. explored, and it, unlike certain other shows, it feels like a fit, something suited for a spin-off prequel, so to speak, of this series, just to add some more lore to the anime onlys, or both manga and anime, both manga readers and anime onlys, depending on if you just do a manga adaptation or you do an OVA that goes into her backstory once that's adapted. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting because, like, she was basically a hired gun for the Hero Safety Commission, and so it also makes you like recontextualize everything All Might did. Right? He's the symbol of peace. Everything's fine now because he was here. Right? Crime rate was only at like 2% when All Might was working, and it's like, how much of that was false? How much was actually being swept under the rug and covered up? Which is just like, it's showing us a new level of corruption in this hero society, and it's kind of breaking Deku's worldview. But he's also mentally strong enough to say he's just going to be the one to rebuild it, which I love that about Midoriya, is like, he acknowledges that the world has failed Eri and Shigaraki and Lady Nagant and Hawks and Toya. But he knows All for One should not be the dictator of this world, and he's going to do everything he can to make sure they build a better society.
Well said.
Yeah. So I guess the question is, where do they go from there? We know in the next chapter he's going to continue fighting her, but like you said earlier, Leo, we had Shizuki, who's still up on this roof, still armless. What's going to happen? Any ideas?
So I real quick do want to say that I love that this episode really does show us that Deku understands that the hero world is not all black and white anymore.
Right.
We do get to see that Midoriya has finally grown to a point mentally that he knows that, oh, the whole like glowing hero society that he saw as a kid is not necessarily true, which is what drove Lady Nagant to be this way anyway. I like her as a character. I like that cool quirk she's got. I thought there was a crazy panel when she had like just finished something and all these kids were like trying to shake her hand. She's got like a dripping bloody hand and the kids are still like, Lady Nagant. And I was just like, this is really dark. But yeah, like, I'm not entirely sure what's going on with Chisaki coming back. Is Overhaul does Overhaul still exist? I don't know, man. I think next I think that we're gonna find, like, we're gonna see like some kind of big reveal. It's gotta be. I mean, with Chisaki coming back, there's gotta be something going on that was under everybody's radar the whole time, and we had no idea.
Yeah, because we know he's been with her. He's been with Lady Nagant for a good 10 chapters, I think, ever since she was broken out of prison. They've been together. We just don't know why. We know she's after Deku because of All for One and Shigaraki, but we don't know why Chizuki's here. So
yeah, what the hell?
That has to come into play very soon, especially, I mean, he's on the last chapter. I mean, the last panel of the chapter. So it has to be something coming up, especially off of Deku's reaction, which is strange. It's just Chizuki, question marks. And it's like, did you not see him on the roof in the last chapter? I don't know.
I thought it was so like, I don't know. I was just like, what? Why is he back, man? We're recycling villains now. Because I thought that was cool just to see how far Deku had grown. But I'm like, okay, what's up with Chisaki now?
Well, you know, we're in the final phases of the story, so we gotta tie everything back up, I guess.
Maybe I don't know what episode we talked about it, but we speculate, and I don't know if it was me or you that brought it up, Mike, but maybe it's going to end up as the enemy of my enemy is my friend, kind of thing at the end of things.
Yeah, you mentioned that like 2 episodes ago, I think, where they would have to like team up. He wants revenge on Shigaraki was our theory, right? Because he took his arms and he can't, save his father anymore because he doesn't have his quirks. So him teaming up with Midoriya to take down the League of Villains would be interesting. And it goes back to my theory of a Suicide Squad of Gentle Criminal, Hawks, Lady Nagant, and Chizuki.
Oh, hell yeah.
That might be interesting to see.
That'd be tight, bro. Like, I don't know. I think we do need some gray teams coming into the fray here. Like, there are some characters that are not either side, man. What's going on here?
Yeah, and I like how they touched upon like how vigilantes factor into this world as well. And that's something that My Hero hasn't touched on, but My Hero Vigilantes obviously leans heavily into how vigilantes factor in this world. I appreciate the story evolving, I guess, because like we were saying in the anime review, the show starts off with Deku, quirkless, bright-eyed, seeing All Might. That's all anybody thinks about is becoming a hero, and they save people. As the series goes on, we learn that it's gray, like you said. And not just gray, like dark gray. Like, let's not forget that the Hero Safety Commission took in Hawks and just like trained him to be pretty much a weapon, like Lady Nagant. Thankfully, he didn't go down the same path as her, but it's kind of the same thing, or how it pushes Endeavor to abuse his family because all he can think about is being the number one hero. Whereas that's not the point of being a hero. And I think that's what Deku's going to bring to the table of, you just got to save the people. You got to make the world a better place, not do it for money, do it for fame. And I think that's what makes the directions they're taking the UA kids really important. Like Shoto wants to help his family, Deku wants to help others, Uraraka wants to help the heroes. And I think as we come to the end of the story, we're going to actually have some great, compelling characters and seeing the world just like change completely.
Yeah, what's kind of crazy? You saying that is like, it's kind of like the anime is thematically at a similar point as the manga right now.
Yeah.
Because we just saw Ida like pull off saving his teammate, even though he really wanted to win. He still was like, it was still about saving someone else. And I think that that's what makes UA so unique and special, is that even if they lose a battle, it's always about saving someone else. It's never about winning, defeating the villain. It's not, I mean, the people who defeat the villains are Deku and Bakugo and formerly All Might and the top 3 in the Heroes Society. But it's like, for the rest of them, especially the UA students, and Lemillion, it's about saving others. And I think that that's what's crumbling down this hero society of status and, oh, how high are you on the rank? It's like, no, they're going to abandon that. Like, it's all about saving people. It ain't about status and ranks and all that crap. It's about just saving the people. Yeah,
it reminds me of, I'm going to say maybe like chapter 300 or so. It's when society crumbles, right? You see so many heroes retire and because they didn't want to handle the threat of All for One in the League of Villains and I guess the Meta Liberation Army. And so there's just so many heroes that retired and quit. And Uraraka's just standing there like, you guys are just going to give up now? And that fighting spirit that UA has is what makes them special. And honestly, like you said, it thematically ties in to the anime. It reminds me of early on when Deku joined UA. Eraserhead always expels at least 50% of his class. He didn't expel a single one from this class. And it's like, that's probably because they're special. And they, along with the big 3, because Mirio is back, which I'm kind of disappointed how that was a blip on the radar. He comes back and then we don't really see him anymore. But Class 1A, Class B, and the big 3 are probably going to be the ones who have to reshape this society as it is.
Mm-hmm.
which I'm excited, like you, I'm excited to see them come back into the fold. Deku being alone is great, and I appreciate it because oftentimes it feels like Deku gets lost in this series.
Yeah, and that's a problem that Bleach also had with Ichigo, is that sometimes the other characters can overshadow the main character when you give them so much development and so much attention, which is cool. But at the same time, it's like give our boy Deku a little bit of a spotlight now. You gotta give him a little bit of something.
Right. It's like Isaac and Brandon and I were talking, I would say maybe 7 episodes ago. It was focusing on the Todoroki family, right? And everything going on with Toya. Isaac said that Todoroki is the most interesting, most compelling character in the series. And I think that is part of the problem. And I think that's why this specific arc is so important for Midori's growth. As we get towards the end, we focus on Shoto and Bakugo. And like in the anime, we really didn't see Deku until episode 10 because we focused on the other matches, which on one hand, great fleshing out those characters, but I'm glad we're kind of focusing on Midoriya. I just think in the manga now it's time to bring them back into the fold within the next 3 or 4 chapters.
I think
they are. Go ahead, Leo.
No, after you, man.
I was just gonna say that I think they are going to do that, bring them back after the fight with Lady Nagant, and we are not gonna see the whole wait what, and continue the revelation with the Deku after we have followed them for a while, sort of having a flat cliffhanger while we followed them for a while. You get what I'm saying?
So like flashback to once they open the letter, seeing Deku, finding out that he left, like flashback and take some time there.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I think that I agree with you, Isaac, that Lady Nagant is going to be defeated by Deku. I think, honestly, what's going to happen is that he is going to beat Lady Nagant, and then an even bigger threat or team of villains is going to show up, and then UA is going to show up and have his back.
I mean, if we're, again, looking at the parallels, and I've mentioned this before, Horikoshi purposely makes the anime and manga kind of coincide, so they always pull off a theme that's referenced in the anime that's intentional. So with this last episode, again, Uraraka wanting to be a hero who saves heroes, and Bakugo wanting to be a hero who saves people, I would not be surprised if those two somehow show up.
I honestly, I think it would be cool if it was just those two and not even the entire class. You just have like Bakugo, who almost has kind of dubbed himself as the protector of One for All, and then Uraraka, who is the protector of heroes. I think that'd be cool if you just had the 3 of them, or you could even have Shoto show up, just him and Bakugo, and have the big 3 take on like a whole like slew of villains.
Yeah, I mean, if Bakugo's gonna save Midoriya, you know Kirishima's right behind him.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, but I get what you mean. Yeah, that would be a really fitting way to kind of bring them back in, because and I'm with Isaac. We're gonna flash back to them eventually. I don't know how soon, but it's like they're not just gonna sit there and take that. Especially Bakugo, he's gonna go after this dude alone if he has to.
He is probably just tearing down the letter and charging, looking for him like an angry bull in a china shop until he finds him with neither eat or some food or sleep, and breaks said villain into pieces because he is so annoyed when he gets there.
That was such a detailed description. You really thought that out, didn't you?
Yeah, you did.
No, I just said something on the top of my head.
Okay, I got a question.
Yeah.
Will we see a Deku versus Bakugo part 3?
I'm going to say yes, because Bakugo's going to beat him until he comes back to UA.
He is probably going to try and beat him unconscious, just so he can drag him back to UA.
Do you guys think first of all, this is like a total Naruto versus Sasuke thing. But do you guys think that Bakugo would win? I almost think Deku would have a slight upper hand at this point.
I think he could win just because, depending on how exhausted the Deku is, if you know what I mean.
It depends the scenario. If it's like Isaac said, where he's gonna beat him, they're gonna beat him to come back to UA. I think Deku would win. If it's just a sparring match, Deku might end up holding back. I just think thematically, though, Bakugo has technically beaten Deku he's 2-0 against Midoriya.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'd be kind of funny if Deku just never beats him.
Yeah, but like I said, he could be so exhausted that he can't defend himself, and you said, Bakugo, but you get your ass back to UA, and just knocking down with him being exhausted and not knowing what to do.
So, Mike, I'm hearing you're going a full-on Goku versus Vegeta scenario. The main character never beats his rival, but his rival is always jealous anyway.
Yeah, that would actually be pretty fitting, honestly. It goes back to like we were saying in the anime discussion, though. Deku's getting a little overpowered, like you said. He has too many tools in his bag now.
Yeah, because I'm just like, okay, Bakugo, explode. Oh, he gets caught up in Black Whip. What? Like, you know what I mean? It's too much.
He breaks out of Black Whip, but now he can't see Deku because Deku has smoke screen, and then Deku flies into the air, and Bakugo can't keep up because Bakugo can't fly. And he's like, you get the point.
Right. It's like, dang, dude. You got too much. That ain't fair. 7 quirks versus 1.
I think that's why they introduce a character like Lady Nagant, is because the villains we know of can't keep up with him anymore. So they're going to have to introduce new characters. Because, again, he folded Muscular like a lawn chair. Let's be real. It's just like... Muscular was the toughest dude Deku ever fought, next to Overhaul. And he toyed around with him. And then once he got the answer he wanted, it was just over. And so they have to introduce characters like Lady Nagant or even Gigantomachia to keep up with Deku.
And Gigantomachia still went down like a damn tower. I'm like, he done. Well, okay. I don't know, guys. I think if we see Deku versus Bakugo one more time, I think Deku might come out on top by a slight margin.
Or, yeah, I mean, logically speaking, I agree with you. It'd be funny if that's when Deku loses his arms, just like Naruto and Sasuke.
Oh my God. Bakugo just explodes his arm off in order to explode one of Deku's arms. How ridiculous did that anime get toward the end? Good grief.
Isaac, we're going to have to talk Naruto one day. I swear.
Just like we have to talk about One Piece, Gintama, Dragon Ball Super. Where's the list?
No, I can't watch. I can't read 1,000 chapters of One Piece. I'm sorry.
we can just do season 1, and we don't have to do the entire series.
I don't want to commit to that because anime is weird. So you tell me season 1, it could be like 1,000 episodes for all I know.
It's like 28 or 29 or something like that.
Yeah,
okay.
And if we would do more season, I just look up episodes that are fillers, skip those, and we're good.
Sweet. Do you guys have anything else on My Hero Academia, the anime, or the manga at this point?
Look, I think this is a good time to start wrapping up in My Hero Academia. I don't even want to say it's gone downhill or that the quality has dropped because it has stayed pretty sharp. And I like that it's exploring now toward the end. The themes are becoming more adult. I like that. I think that it's in a really good spot right now. Yeah. I could see it wrapping up by chapter like 375.
Really? That soon, huh?
Yeah, maybe stretch it to 400. Well, I mean, I don't think he's going to go to 500 with this arc, but maybe like to chapter 400. I think we're kind of getting down to the wire here. And I don't know, guys. I think All For One, I think Shigaraki might become like the body for All For One at this point. Or yeah, what All For One? Yeah. All For One.
It's funny how we're 300 chapters in and we still have to think about it once in a while.
Right. I'm like, one for All For wait, what? Which one? Yeah, All For One.
Yeah, you had it right. I mean, I can see this wrapping up too. I think 400 would be a good place. It depends though, because if we're wrapping up this story arc, yeah, it can end soon. I'm still holding out a possibility that we get some sort of spinoff or sequel from this. I mean, we already have Vigilantes, which is a spinoff, but like, I don't know. It feels like there's too much stuff going on to try and close it out. We have to go back to UA. We have to figure out what's happening with Shigaraki and All For One anyway, because like you said, he's about to become the host of All For One, and we don't want Shigaraki to go down that way, especially after My Villain Academia.
I don't know. Good homie can hit the grave for all I care.
Watch this manga end on chapter 399 or 408 and just annoy people that it isn't on a clean number.
Right, I mean, 410, no 420, 425. No, it's just 407.
420 would be hilarious.
I mean, Deku is green, y'all.
Right? No, but it's like Attack on Titan ended on 339. That's always going to be annoying.
But that's not the most annoying about that series, but we're not talking about Attack on Titans here.
Yeah, we're not. We'll do that in the winter. But okay, Leo, thanks for joining us. We need to get you on a couple more of these.
Check private chat.
Oh, okay. Isaac, where can people find you on the interwebs? I know you got some cool stuff going on.
Well, you can find me over at Twitter at Emblemaniac, and you can find my work at Wobamentertainment, where I'm working on the Famicom Detective review, Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne review, which is just bothers my mind and just how batshit insane that game is. And I'm also close to finish a book that have worked for years of, and nice. I might review Metopia also soon. I don't know about that though.
Nice. Looking forward to the book. That's exciting. Okay.
Leo, are you back?
Anything about it, or?
No, it's gonna be it's I can tell more when it's done.
Okay, fair enough. You're gonna tease us like that and not give us any details. Cool.
Yeah, of course I am.
All right, Leo, thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Great time.
Need to have you on here again soon, especially as things develop in the anime and the manga. I love these discussions that we have here.
I know, it's always so fun to talk some MHA with y'all, man. There's like gonna be like 40 more episodes of this season, because like we're only 10 episodes in, and the last couple of seasons are 50 episodes apiece.
I thought they were like 26 a piece, right?
I mean, is Hulu categorizing these wrong?
Oh, no, you're watching Hulu? Okay. So Hulu is annoying because it counts the sub and the dub twice.
Oh.
So cut that in half, 25 episodes.
Oh, okay. 15. Damn. Well, there goes my excitement. No. It does feel about halfway through. I was like, damn, we got 40 more episodes, y'all. Jesus.
I wish. That means we would have gotten right into the work.
Yeah, for real. Man, got a little overexcited there.
Oh, well. But yeah, I mean, we still have My Villain Academia. We have the Endeavor Agency arc this season, and we also have the third movie coming up. So that's exciting. Plenty to talk about. So
Yeah.
Where can people find you and what you up to, Leo?
So, guys, you can find me over at Geekly Goods on YouTube, at Leo Rydel on Twitter, at Leo.Rydel on Instagram. Wish I could get Leo Rydel, but I can't. So come on, find me on social media. I have some things cooking up for this week. Got The Conjuring 3. Well, I'm sorry, excuse me. The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, because they didn't want to add that 3 in there.
Nobody ever pays attention to that. We just call it Conjuring 3.
Yeah, let's be real. I'm just like, it's just The Conjuring 3. Come on. But I will have that review up this week. I will have a first time watching for Conjuring 2, because actually I have watched it, but I just don't remember a single detail. So it's going to feel like watching it for the first time. I also have a first time watching here soon for Demon Slayer Mugen Train, which I'm super excited to check that out. Oh man, I've loved Demon Slayer so far, and I'm super excited for season 2. So I'll be having that up, and then more reviews, more reactions coming up. Superman and Lois is full steam ahead, so I'll have a reaction for that as well on Tuesday. And I'm so excited to just continue talking geek with y'all. Come on over to Geekly Goods on YouTube, and then at Leo Rydel on Twitter. Guys, thank you for having me. It's always so cool talking My Hero Academia with y'all, because like we are just like super MHA nerds. Like I love it.
We nerded out about a 15-page chapter for like 40 minutes almost.
It's just so good. You know, these themes of heroism and when it becomes too much status based, and it's just so cool to talk about like what My Hero is doing and how much more serious it's getting in the manga as it progresses.
Yeah, for sure. And guys, you can find me at Novice Cinephile on Twitter and the Novice Cinephile on Instagram, because like Leo, for some reason, Novice Cinephile is taken on Instagram by an account that has 0 posts. I am angry about it. But anyway, you can also find me on YouTube at Novice Cinephile. I've got a video on Naruto coming out this week. It's called I Watched 450 Episodes of Naruto and Found My Ninja Way. I just talk about my experience watching Naruto for the first time in 2020. You can also find my podcast, Mike and John at the Movies. John and I just reviewed 2 movies, A Quiet Place Part 2 and Cruella. Both movies are a trip, y'all. You guys need to check them out. They're crazy. And Isaac, please plug the Amateur Otaku podcast.
Well, you can find our podcast here on YouTube for obvious reasons. Welcome to Captain Obvious. You can find us over at Anchor, Spotify, iTunes, all those good places, and you can also find our Twitter page at on Amateur Otaku Pod.
Nice. We will be back next week for chapter 315 and episode 99. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. Have a fantastic day. Brandon will be back. Follow him, the Scarlet Fan 52 on Twitter. Show him some love. We miss him. Go Beyond. Plus Ultra.
Heat on.
You had to ruin it.
Oh, me?